Can you believe it? Here we go again, starting the 2023 NFL season right here at Arrowhead Stadium tonight as the Chiefs get set to host the Detroit Lions to open up, yes, the Big Boy League. College football has been going on, but NFL is here. And let's welcome on for a second straight season here on KCMO Talk Radio. Of course, former Chiefs player and our Chiefs analyst here on KCMO Talk Radio, Kendall Gammon. It's brought to you by Xfinity 10G, a revolutionary new network that will transform the way we all connect. Kendall, good morning. Good to have you back, my friend. Welcome in.
Hey, welcome back. It is good to be back. Welcome in. It's good to be back. And, man, football season, Pete, is finally here.
I know. It's crazy. Hey, I want to start off just with this Chris Jones thing. As a former player, I'm sure you have some sympathy for the guy trying to, get his bag, so to speak, and get that money. But if you're in that locker room right now and Chris Jones is doing what he's doing, do you think there's a consensus that he's letting the team down, or is it, hey, he's got to get his? Where do you think that falls in the locker room right now?
Well, it's kind of neither. Basically what it is, and I've been through a few of these situations, Pete, in my career, and you never feel like he's letting the team down because you understand there is a business aspect to it, and you realize that it's got to play its course out. You wish he was there, whatever position it is. You wish they were there because they could help the team. Otherwise, they wouldn't be commanding this type of money. And so it's just one of those things. It's kind of hard to explain unless you're there and you've been through it. But you don't wish ill of somebody or feel let down because they're trying to get. Now, I will say this, to get, as Chris puts it, a raise, which I thought was interesting, but I guess it's the truth. And you know what? They'll eventually come to some resolution, although that may just be, playing this season out and seeing where we go next season.
Do you feel like, we've seen Brett Veach. The guy traded away Tyreek Hill because he wanted too much money. I'm not saying they're going to do that with Chris Jones, but clearly Brett Veach is wisely so not interested in paying for things done in the past. He wants to pay you for what you can do in the future. So he's held a pretty hard line on this thing. So I guess who blinks first?
Yeah, in my mind, and I've thought this all along, it's nothing against Chris, but, with the collective bargaining agreement, there's one or two players, the highest paid players, that generally don't have as good of path to contracts as everybody else, and that's because the owners wanted some leverage with some things as well. Overall, the collective bargaining agreement helps the entire league and all the players, even the ones lower down. Quite honestly, like myself. So it's just one of those things that you deal with. I mean, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but it's part of it. Who blinks first? In my mind, Chris is just going to have to come back. Either he's going to take the deal that they're offering, or he'll just play the year out. But I've never thought that he really had leverage because he's under contract this year, and they can franchise him next year.
Yeah, no, I don't know what his leverage is exactly here. So Kendall Gammon is joining us as we get set to kick off the season tonight. All right, Kendall, they're coming back. They're Super Bowl champs. You don't want to have that Super Bowl hangover. They didn't the first time around. Of course, they got back to the Super Bowl the first time around. They lost it, but they got back to it. How do you avoid, if you're the Chiefs, this potential hangover that teams in all sports sometimes deal with after winning a championship?
You know what, Pete? I think that happened or was taken care of starting with when they got together for the next season in Big Red, head coach Andy Reid. I think in general he said, winning a couple Super Bowls over 3-4 years is a good thing. But if you really want to be an elite company, if you really want to stand out and be remembered, very few teams have went back to back. And so he kind of challenged them. And that's, I think that's the challenge that's there. And then I think also the fact that when you have your two biggest stars in Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, who work as hard as they do and lead like they do, I think that's a huge thing as well. I think the Chiefs are hungry. I personally think, to a degree, I don't mean it in a bad way, but last year's Super Bowl could have gone either way, and I think they stole that one to a degree. And I think it's because of the coaching and some great plays. But I think they're set up better this year to win a Super Bowl than they were last year.
Now, why is that? Why is that?
I just think with the offensive line, bringing in Donovan Smith, bringing in Jawan Taylor, you've got all those defensive backfield in terms of second-year players. Sky Moore, second-year player. You've got so many rookies who were playing so much last year, and they get that Super Bowl. So now they have all that experience. They have a full off season under their belt to get ready to go and everything. I just feel like they're better prepared, quite honestly.
Do you feel like, so last year the Chiefs go 14-3 in the regular season. Do you see a scenario where the Chiefs get back to a Super Bowl, but their regular season record is worse because of how loaded the AFC is?
There's no question. That's a great point. There's no question that could happen. But I just feel like the Chiefs, again, I feel like they're a better team than they were last year. When you talk about that, the big deal is you've got to have that good regular season record, though, because with the addition a couple of years ago of the extra team and taking the bye to only one team instead of two, that was so huge for so many different reasons. And I think it was a great add by the NFL to make things even more interesting and make the games more important, even going down to the end. So they could do it, but boy, that would be a tough road to hoe.
What do you think of this Detroit Lions team? I mean, I think it's interesting the NFL picked them for the opener. I think there's a lot of hype around them. We think about the Lions as just being, the doldrums of the NFL, but they had a sneaky good season last year, almost made the playoffs. And how should Chiefs fans be looking at this team tonight?
Well, you've got to respect everybody, and obviously, it's bad because I don't completely buy the hype. They're the Lions. I know they played better at the end of the year. I think they were 8-2, and were hot at the end of the year. And I really wasn't sold on Jared Goff when he came over from LA, but he did have a great year last year. So it's going to be interesting to see everything. All the folks that I've talked to in Detroit this week for radio and everything have just talked about how head coach Dan Campbell, how they bought in, how the Lions fans are so excited. But most importantly is the team is on the same page and they've got a good feeling right now. So it's going to be interesting. That being said, there is no tougher draw than playing the opening game of the season against the world champions in Arrowhead, and you're the only game there. Make no mistake, this is the biggest game that any of these players for Detroit have really played in, and it'll be interesting to see how they hold up, because that first 5-10 minutes is going to be so electric, because there's going to be so much energy from the banner raising and everything going on that I'm just curious to see how they react to everything.
Absolutely. Kendall, last thing, just looking at the season as a whole here, you look at the AFC West, it's the Chiefs to lose. Are you buying into the Chargers hype this season? There's a lot of people doing that. Is Kendall Gammon doing that?
No, I mean, it just cracks me up. I joked last year after we won the Super Bowl that immediately the Chargers were the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. It seems like the last 5 or 6 years, every time they were always the pick, and it never happened. They are set up pretty well, and obviously with the QB and what he's done for them. And when you have a franchise QB like Herbert, then you've got a chance. But I just don't see it. I don't see anybody in our division challenging at this point in time. But that being said, you mentioned it earlier, going back to what you said, is the AFC is a gauntlet. And if you get out here out of that division or that conference with the number one seed, you've done something good.
Absolutely. Well, Kendall, we will talk to you tomorrow morning after the game. Looking forward to a great season, and we appreciate you being here as always.
Hey, you bet. Make it a great day. Take care, Pete.
All right. That's Kendall Gammon. Good to have him on KCMO.